Hello, 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 everybody. On behalf of Women in Real Estate, the Chicago chapter, my name is Sabrina Beer. I'm one of the chapter leaders, and I'm here actually with Laura, and I'll let her introduce herself. But today we're going to be talking about easy prospecting tips to grow your business. This is what Laura does for a living. Like, this is what she does all day, every day. So she's going to share some of her tips and tricks with you. We are recording this session. It will be up on the Women in Real Estate, join womeninrealestate.com. It will be on that website. I'm also live streaming currently right now to Clubhouse, so you'll also find it there if you're a Clubhouse user. Thank you all, Jennifer, Rob, and Joanne, for joining us live. I'll let other people in. If you want to put questions in the chat, Laura will be able to look there and answer your questions. I will also put in a couple of little resources in the chat as we go on also. So Laura, my friend, please introduce yourself.
Hey, how's it going? So I'm going to share my screen here because I have a little intro on here. So back in the beginning, welcome everybody. So as Sabrina said, my name is Laura Perez-Freytes, and I am a training and coaching manager at the #1 real estate firm in the city of Chicago. So my job is to work with agents one-on-one, and we build business plans, and we talk about kind of what marketing they're going to do, how they're going to use it. I help build brands and really help agents really grow. So that is what I love to do. It is my passion to help people. So this is a way that I get to do that in the business world. So super excited about that. So let's talk. We're going to talk about break going to do today. Prospecting is a huge concept that we are. I'm going to go over strategies essentially, and then give you some homework and some action plan for you to actualize some of the things that we're going to talk about. So as mentioned, I would love for you to throw any questions in the chat, seminars, things like that. I think the more we can feed off of each other, the better kind of the experience we'll have together. So this is a collaborative initiative that we're doing right now. So in any kind of sales, any kind of really when you have to kind of be introspective and grow on your own, mindset is the biggest piece of that. The first thing I'm going to tell you is to get out of your own head, right? So we can go into a role and really feel like we are not equipped, we are not good enough, we don't have the skill set, or you don't have the experience as your peer or someone sitting the desk next to you. I think we need to readjust that. Then we need to remove the obstacles. So if scheduling is your problem, if there's something you feel that it's really going to hinder you from getting to where you want to be, remove those things. Kind of really be aggressive in attacking them and eliminating them from everything that you're trying to do. And the biggest takeaway is to stop thinking and start doing, right? So we all have really grand ideas most of the time, and we have cool things that we see and we're like, oh, that person's doing this, I want to do that. I think that's awesome. They're finding success in that. And we just talk about it, and we can mull over it, and we can write it down, and we can put it on vision boards and things like that. But if we're not actualizing that, if we're not saying today is the day when I'm going to start doing that, we're doing ourselves a disservice, and we're not moving, we're not growing. So big concept is talking about the difference between mindset of scarcity and abundance, right? We live in a world of abundance. And I think if we go into understanding that it's not a pie, right? Doesn't mean that there's not the same amount left for my peer, and in the same regard for yourself. So understanding that every opportunity is an opportunity. Every time we go out into the world, every meeting that we have, every opportunity we have to meet someone is an opportunity. I say this to my children on a regular basis, right? Everywhere you go, there's an opportunity to learn something, to grow, to do something. So understanding that if you go up for a listing appointment, you do your presentation and they didn't decide to go with you, that's okay, because their neighbor's selling too, right? And so that's kind of the mindset between scarcity and abundance. And we have to understand that there's more than enough to go around. And once we kind of own that, those failures, for lack of a better word, will become just stepping stones in the next portion of our success. So change the dialogue about prospecting. So this is our big, right? This is our big focus, prospecting and growing your business, and how are we going to be intentional about that? But I think that the reality of it is to change it from being a task to being it again an opportunity, right? So we want to focus on the get to rather than have to, right? Because this is a gift. The ability that you have to own your own business, run your own business, do in a day what you see fit is a gift. So understanding that, being intentional, and if you're part of the 5 a.m. club and you wake up at 5 and you start your day and you do your affirmations and you do your intentions and so forth, and then you do your prospecting, that's a gift for you to be able to manage that. So understanding that if you take away like the negative connotation we have with this another to do, prospecting is, oh, it's so hard, it's so difficult. And I get to be intentional and focused on people that I want to meet, people that I want to connect with. Like that's a whole different idea. And again, like it's part of the gift thing. It's part of just us being very grateful for everything that we have in front of us. So here's a little secret when we're prospecting. Who you're supposed to be prospecting with, to prospect with, or who you get to prospect with, make it all about them. So start with something as simple as utilizing social media as an Encyclopedia Britannica. So we used to have to look in a book, I don't know about you, but my kids don't know anything about that. But when I had to study for something, I had to go to the library, take out a book, started with A and then work my way down. So utilize social media as your resource, right? So if there is a client base, you've made a list of people that you want to reach out to, I'd start there. Do your research on something that they're putting out. So if you're certain how to start that conversation, just pick up the phone a little bit and say, hey, I saw you just went to Hawaii. That's my dream trip. How was it? And listen, right? And so when you come with that intention, when you come with an offering, on the give, focus on what you're able to bring to their life, it changes your mindset about it. It changes how you feel about doing the outreach. It changes how you feel about, really that phone call or that intentional kind of direct conversation with someone. It changes everything. So use the Ford model of questioning, right? Ask about their business, ask about what they have going on in their lives, and just listen. That's going to be your big kind of indicator when you're first directing your outreach to people. So prospect on your terms. So as I just mentioned, we'll talk a little bit about different ways to prospect, right? So don't prospect in a way that doesn't feel authentic to you. If you don't like phone calls, if you are not calling people directly and feel that it's not in your will of yours, don't do it, right? So find ways that make you feel comfortable and find ways that really dig deeper into who you are. And, if it's a text message, if it's an email, fine, because most of the time, the crowd, or at least ones that are going to keep long-term relationships. So understand that what you're attracting will be what you're giving out. So find a way to be very organic in the way that you reach out, right? Again, I'm not really great on the phone. I feel a little nervous about it, picking up the phone, calling somebody. So I might shoot a text and say, hey, I wanted to connect. Can we talk later? And so I have a lot of people in my life, if I was prospecting for whatever reason, they would say, yeah, I'd definitely love to meet up with you. Can you call me after 2? Can you call me after 3? So I've already created a space where I've left myself a comfort level, right? So a couple of tips I have to do that is just send a text, like I said, send an email if that's easier, and use slide dial. So slide dial, it's a super awesome, easy, free. So you can see it at the bottom of the screen, SLYDIAL.com. And what it is, it's an app on your phone, and you can actually go directly into someone's voicemail. So, and they don't even know that you did that necessarily, right? So you can give them a call through slide dial and it'll go directly to your voicemail. And you can address the fact that you went to the voicemail saying, hey, John Smith, I just wanted to give you a call. I know you're probably having a super busy day, so just wanted to leave you a little voice message and tell you how's it going, or just wanted to kind of touch base with you. I wanted to connect with you. So understanding that there's lots of resources that we can use to really, again, be intentional and prospect in a way that's organic and comfortable to you. So be a resource, not a sales pitch, right? So I personally love being a resource, and I remove the negative connotation of like a salesperson from everything that we do, and we're coming to people with information and being about it. Like that's a really comfortable place. Here's a scenario, right? I have a social media or an acquaintance or someone, you know, a couple degrees of separation. They said they have a need. They need to find a venue. They need to do something. You have someone in your sphere, someone in your life that might be able to service that need. A go-to person will reach out to the friends, have an authentic conversation with the at the time, and then thank them for the help. And then being the go-to is then taking that information, reaching back out to the friend or acquaintance that needed the resource and saying, hey, I got this information for you. It's a good friend of mine. I'd be happy to connect you to. And now you become a connector. So you're creating this space again where you're a resource, you're getting value from both ends. So you've let someone that has a business of their own or has some kind of resource that other people need or is in a service industry. You've let them know, I value you, I appreciate our relationship, and I your offering is great, so much so that I'm going to have. So now essentially you have two birds, one stone, and you've been the connector of that. And that will essentially grow your business and grow your relationship over and over again. And that's just how that works. Remember your value, right? You are not just the buy or sell of a transaction. You are everything in between. So I know the cliche full service real estate agent and all that concierge level service. We don't have to use all those terms and feel really cheeky about it. We can do things that let us be known as that. So actions speak louder than words, right? So be the value between point A to and someone, you know, just moved out of their condo and they bought a single family home and they have no idea how to use a lawnmower, right? You can be the resource. Again, go to the landscaper that you know and say, hey, I'm going to connect you with someone, right? Because you want to be intentional and let them know you're supporting their business as well. So that then becomes a reciprocal relationship. But you reach out to them and say, I'm connecting with this person. I have this client that I have a single family home. They're in an area that you service. I'd love to connect you. Feels like you are always supporting them in ways that are really easy for you. And you're just continuing to build that relationship with two separate parties. So it's really great. So I wanted to talk about expanding your reach, right? Or been in it for a while and not really sure why they're not at the point they want to be, right? They've created goals for themselves. They've kind of set out intentions, but they're really not in a space that they want to be. It's a typical, I'm new to the business, or I didn't grow up in it, or, you know, my network is too small. Well, be intentional that. So expanding your reach is really talking about, yeah, sure, do that. That's a big takeaway, being intentional there and networking and meeting people and so forth. So in the interim right now, I'd love for you to think about 3 things that you love to do. What's your hobby, right? Think of 3 things. Is it you like to read? Do you like wine? Do you like to play pickleball? Do you like to golf? What are 3 things that you like to do? And maybe those 3 things are not something you're actively doing, right? Maybe it's something you did in high school, but you love it. You still love it. Think about those 3 things. And what are you doing to connect those 3 things? Something that brings you joy, something that brings you fun and energy. How are you relating those to your business? By that is getting involved in spaces of those 3 things that you love to do for you to grow your business outside of those hobbies, right? Because the reality of it is, like, is going to love another person that loves books because you'll have plenty to talk about. And so you build these really organic, strong relationships based on another hobby, based on another set of principles, and that becomes part of your sphere, part of your business, and continuously brings you kind of the reciprocal relationship that you're looking for. So the big piece here is to get rid of the 3 Ps. So that you can Google 3 Ps all you want, and there's lots of different kind of 3 Ps and businesses and relationships and all that, but I'm talking about procrastination, perfectionism, and paralysis. And these three things, in my opinion, are what hinder a lot of people from growing their business and really into a space where, again, we live back in a bubble to them. Let's talk about procrastination. The failure to do the little things every day will cripple your efforts to achieve your goals, right? So meaning if we have a set plan for our day and we just push that off and we're like, oh, you do have business and buyers want to go out at a different time. 5 days into the week, we're now on Friday, and those 2 morning are no longer sent. So now you're on Friday and you have to catch up on 10 handwritten notes. It's never going to happen. Like, that's not a realistic expectation, right? So procrastination is going to create the space where you are failing yourself. Perfectionism. In my opinion, most of the problem with perfectionism is the self-talk, the way that to ourselves when we're trying to get something perfect, when we're trying to make something an A plus, and we really details and our criticism of ourselves, then we'll never do it. If we want to wait until all of our ducks in a row, we'll wait, right? It's the thought process of like spinning our wheel, getting everything ready and getting everything perfect and exactly the way it's supposed to be, but then we never really act, right? It never really comes into fruition because we're spending so much time making it perfect, we're not able to make it real. And then good old analysis paralysis. This is the boyfriend of perfectionism, in my opinion. Stay away from the what if, right? We can sit here and think of, the 10 people that we should be reaching out to, people we were connected to or that come out of our sphere. And, what if their cousin just got licensed? I thought they were going to do that. What if they already sold their place? What if they don't want to move? What if she's a baby? I don't really know. Like, all the what ifs will never do anything. So don't let analysis paralysis and perfectionism date any longer. We need to get far away from them. So recently, someone introduced me, not personally, but via the book to the 5-Second Rule of Mel Robbins. And I think she's a great author, and I just kind of love everything that she represents. And it's really just on those 3 Ps. She talks extensively about when you have an idea, like introduction to yourself, you get like to kind of, theoretically 5 seconds, and eliminate your excitement and anxiety, reveal exactly like who you are. This term, I think it's hard to see. Greatness is also the equity of success, right? So understanding that 5-second rule, that's it. I do not get any proceeds, but definitely a book that I would highly suggest you looking into. So I have some action items for you. These are the things that when we consider our mindset and we consider like what our prospecting ideas are and how we're going to act. These are the things that we need to really be granular and be focused on. Prepare your database. So the biggest takeaway, and I can teach a whole class on talking about a database. I can teach a whole workshop about how to grab contacts, how to grab clients, and who your sphere is. I think you need to develop that, right? Wherever that may be. If I would love it to be in Excel or some other tool where you can get very intentional about your outreach and, notate exactly the communication you're having, notate exactly what you're doing with each client, and creating a grading system or a ranking system. Some of the tools that I use at my company are A's, B's, and C's, right? This is how we rank people. So you go through each client and you rank them in A if they're going to grow your business. Now, be clear on that. That doesn't mean that they're going to be transactional with you, right? An A client doesn't mean that they're going to buy or sell with you or be transactional with you throughout the year, next 2 years. They could be in their forever home, right? You help them get the home of their dreams. Every time someone says the word real estate, client, someone who's going to grow your business. and then B, C, and D subsequently after that. But focus on the A's, right? And I think if you're kind of in a stalemate, you're like, I'm doing my outreach, I'm doing my prospecting, I have stuff in the pipeline, nothing's really actualizing, then your next focus and your next homework is to make B's A's. That's it. How do you make a B and A? And just continuously do that cycle of relationship and prospecting with your clients. And that's how you're going to grow, right? It's all about going deep. You know, the people you can actualize, again, whether that be in a notebook, whether that be on postcards, index cards, whatever you got, and make it in front of your face on a regular basis. Start today. Start with 10 people. Write down your database. These are your friends, family, peers. If real estate is your second, third, fourth career, who were your colleagues before? Like, all those people should transition easily into this new endeavor that you're creating for yourself. That's super easy. And then plan ahead for sincere gestures. What is going to be your personal plan of attack, right? So let's say birthdays are easy. Birthdays are the easiest because you can get that on Facebook, the media. You don't even have to do a lot of work for that. But right, then anniversaries. Then again, when you're transactional with people, every year you reach out to them on their closing anniversary. And it's just a check-in. Again, like I said, you're coming with a gift. You're not coming with a want. You're not saying, oh, like, that's not the conversation. It's, how's it going? I can't believe it's been 2 years already. What's been going on with you? And they may offer a need or a want that you're able to fulfill. So I am really big on analogies. And my analogy for this is super simple. So I shop at Sam's Club. I don't know about you, but every time I walk into Sam's Club, I have this gentleman selling cell phones. Okay, as soon as you walk in, he's in a nice suit. He looks really great. I do everything in my power to avoid eye contact, right? I have a cell phone. I pretend to take it with, whatever the case, and I walk as fast as I can around that person. Corner, there's a lovely woman in an apron and gloves that is handing out cinnamon rolls. She has something I want. She has something that's good. So for you, one of the other takeaways is be the woman with the cinnamon rolls. Don't be the guy in the suit with the cell phone. So do that. Be something of service. Be an offering. Start with a give. That's 100% the way to go. And the other takeaway is pick a golden time for your consistency, right? So that I could play out over and over again, and I'd probably say it 100 times a day if I'm being honest. So being intentional with your time, with your focus, with your dollars, when you're talking about spending money on marketing, that's what's going to help you, right? Being consistent. Like I said, if it's 2 handwritten cards a day, because again, you've already created your database, you've already cultivated your sphere of influence in your space that people are going to be there for you. Now pick the time that you're going to be intentional with them and be intentional with your prospecting and phone calls, texts, handwritten notes, whatever that may be. Again, intentional about how you're spending your time. And then also have your collateral ready. So if this is not something you already have, what happens after a contract has been executed? You have to spend some time to put all these things in place so that it's easy for you, because so frequently we work like in our business instead of on our business, right? And so we get to a point where we're like I said, we're burning our wheels, we're going as fast as we can, and then we don't have time to prospect and we don't have time to grow because we're just trying to keep up. But if you make things a little more systematic, direct as you're functioning, then you will, like, every time I have an executed contract, I have this email that I've templated. I have this signature that I've templated that I send to my buyer, the fully executed contract and disclosures, and I have it every single that I want to send them. I'm never moving too fast that I can't give them the information that I need that they need, and I can't give them the full service that I'm able to offer them. So that's also part of it. And the last action item is to continue learning, right? Whether that be with W.I.R.E, whether that be this networking group and this ability to connect to people, continue learning from peers, from your clients themselves. You know, I think real estate is one of those really greatest industries that you could do this for 20 years. And like, that is reality. It is ever evolving, and that's the glory of it. So your big action item, again, is to continue learning. And that's it. So thank you so much for our time together. And I wanted to know if you guys had any questions. I can be, again, really granular with some direct questions about maybe some direct prospecting or kind of other tips in that way. But I wanted to leave it a little open forum for everyone. So, and then, oh, I can't see the chat, Sabrina, so maybe there are questions in there.
Awesome,
Welcome, Robin.
Laura, thank you so much. Jamie, it looks like you have your hand raised. You want to unmic yourself?
Yes, thank you so much for that great information.
Sure.
The voiceless, I think the voicemails, I forgot what you call it, the slide
dial.
Slide dial. Yeah, I just downloaded it.
Awesome.
Do you have any tips for it? I never used a voicemail software before, but you definitely gave some great tips on how to use it. Anything outside of that as far as other beneficial ways to, I guess, use this tool?
Yeah. The app, there are some like paid services that you can kind of go into, you know, if you're doing farming, larger prospecting areas, and you have like a phone number list you may have purchased. Always check the do not call registry, of course. But if you've got a list in that way, you can use Slide Dial to upload like a full list, and then Slide Dial will send voicemails directly to all of those. That's an okay service to use like long term, but for me, I personally use this for reaching out to people that I know may be busy. And I would say the biggest kind of takeaway is to write a script, right? So I'm very big on notes. I have notepads everywhere. And so if I know that I want to call Jamie Turner today and he's on my list of prospecting, I've made a list of I am going to write Jamie Turner's name down. Like I said, use on vacation, or he just became an uncle or something really cool. He just went to, he just got his license in real estate like me, right? I'm going to write that down, and then I'm going to Slide Dial and say, hey, Jamie, it's Laura, and I just wanted to touch base with you. I saw that you got your license. It's really cool. I know you're super busy, so let's connect. Here's my number, or text me if that's easier, and I'd love to have coffee or lunch. So Slide Dial is really just, in my opinion, a space for you to get more comfortable with doing the direct verbal outreach. So while I mentioned being organic about it and doing something that you, again, feels warm and fuzzy to you, doesn't really create a space where you're out of your comfort zone, ideally, you want to get to a space where you're calling people and being very comfortable in that way, right? So Slide Dial, I think, is like a little bit of a negotiation with yourself. So again, be intentional, write a little script, do some research, and use it in that way.
I want to chime in just really quick, Jamie, because I've used Slide Dial for years, and I find it super cool. Just as a heads up, the phone does not ring. It won't show up in a missed call. So it'll just show that you have a voicemail from someone. I have used it in the same way that Laura said. I always identify like, hey, I just jumped straight into your voicemail because I know it's the middle of the day and you're super busy. I just wanted to X, Y, and Z. But it has also been very beneficial in a mass way as well, if you're giving some kind of like market stat. So if you want to say, you know, if you want to do something to all your past customers and all your past, you know, deals, and say, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm setting up meetings, you know, and for the next couple of weeks to go over, you know, your portfolio or a real estate review or whatever, I'm going to be sending you an email that's going to have like my Calendarly link on it or whatever, like just to let them know as like another touch point. I think a mass is perfectly fine because it's not too salesy. It's just kind of like, and you can even identify that this is a mass voicemail. I just wanted to let you know that this is coming. So keep your eye open. As always, you can always call me. I just didn't want to bother you because I know you're super busy. So those are two ways it's been super successful for me over the years.
I think that's a great, I think that's a great tip, Sabrina. In addition to that, kind of similarly on the same path, you know, if you're doing anything like, again, intentional with gifting or anything like that, you know, sometimes you might send a gift or a gift card or in the mail and you're not really certain if people have gotten it. I feel like you might be like in an awkward space if you call someone and say, hey, Jamie, I sent you the Starbucks gift card. I just wanna, did you get that? And then it's weird, right? So what you can do is utilize Fly Dial, because again, it's just an added layer, like a little degree of separation from a text message, because I can speak for my good friend Sabrina there. The amount of text messages in her little indicator is crazy. So I think, you know, we get so many text messages on so many different things. So leaving a voicemail, I don't have any unlistened voicemails personally, right? I might have an unread text for a little bit because you feel like, well, that's not urgent. That's a little less important. I think we kind of quantify that as that. So just being in a voicemail and saying, hey, Bill, I actually just sent you over a gift card and I hope you enjoy it. You and the family, I know, love that ice cream shop. So let me know what you think about it. We can connect soon. Have a great day. That's it, right? That's another good space to use that too.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question if we still have time.
I don't know, Jamie. I feel like one question per person.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. I'm totally joking. Please go ahead. And Robin, we'll get to you in just a second. Go, Jamie.
Sorry about that. My final question is just following up on that. What about on the other end as the agent receiving calls? Do you have like a call system that will pick up the phone for you if you're busy, as far as like, hey, press 1 if you're looking to list, press 2 if you're looking to buy or anything like that, or you just returning the calls as they come in or when you get time?
So I personally, there are definitely resources out there. I think like Google Voice has some resources to utilize and they're either pretty inexpensive. Okay. And I don't love that for you because that makes you seem a little more automated and that makes business seem a little more less personal, right? And I am a huge proponent on relationships and being personal and really, you know, in my opinion, you through any market, right? So whether a market's great or whether a market's less desirable, you know, if you have these solid relationships that you've cultivated, you can weather just about any storm, right? So this is how I feel about that. So yes, there are services like that. And like I said, I think Google Voice has one. But I think a genuine, you know, making sure you're representative on your voicemail. I do have someone that has their voicemail set up, an agent in the city, and she has her voicemail set up to say something. You know, I am usually out with clients.
Oh, I think Laura just froze up.
I think that hits all of the bases. I think that hits all of the.
Laura, you just froze up, so we didn't hear what you said.
Oh, where did I leave off?
You said I have an agent in the city that has a voicemail.
Well, I can repeat myself because I think it was gold. So utilizing your voicemail similar to what you're saying, Jamie, that doesn't require something from someone. I have an agent in the city, her voicemail set up something of the sort like Friday. I'm usually busy with clients throughout the day.
Oh no.
PM. And you can, I lost me again. Oh my God.
You can text it in the chat because I do think that that's golden. I think what you're saying is something like, I'm out all day today, but I will return all phone calls between this time and this time later in the day, right, or the next day or whatever the case is.
Yeah. And hers, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hers specifically says something like, I check my voicemail at 5 and you can expect a call back within 24 hours. That makes sense.
That's great.
Okay, good.
Jamie,
is Jamie.
Also, Jamie, I will say that I do know a couple of people, I have not tried this personally, but I know a couple of people that have hired virtual assistants, and they forward, like if you're going to be busy all day, or if you have a separate number that goes straight to them, and then they field all your calls. Because I know, like, you know, I know a little bit about your business. And so I kind of understand you may have a lot of incoming calls coming in if you start prospecting out like that. And so you may want to set up like another line that goes straight to like a VA or something like that. And they can vet those calls. Like you can give them some screening questions and they could vet those calls for you to let you know what's like a real lead and what's like a cold lead.
Yeah,
Robin.
I agree, Serena.
Hi, Robin.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Laura, thank you so much. That was great information. A couple of things, if you could put your information in the chat
Of
so
course.
I can follow up with you. But I also want to iterate that I love the 3 Ps: procrastination, perfection, and paralysis that will kill your business. And I love that you touched on the time blocking that helps with the procrastination. And the 5-second rule. I love that book. I listened to it on Audible. So thank you so much for that. And then also thanks for the reference for the slide out too, because I'm a big believer in working smarter. And especially if you guys, I mean, these are great tips, you guys. If you use these tips, your business will grow. And so you need to, I'm a big systems person. You need to have those systems in place and those tools like that to help you grow. So I really appreciate that and everything that you shared too. So make sure I get your contact information. When she's not frozen.
Right?
I know she froze, but I think she was saying thank you and you're awesome.
That's exactly what I was saying. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with internet
technology
today? I'm saying, you know, I will say, can you hear me or am I frozen? You can hear me. Great. I was going to say that, Robin, I think you touched on a really good point, that a lot of agents, you know, there might, in my opinion, people that I work with on a regular basis, for good or bad, they chose real estate for the freedom of it a lot of times, right? So maybe a 9-to-5 just isn't in their wheelhouse. You know, maybe they tried that. They were in corporate America for 10, 15 years, and they're like, I can't sit behind a desk. I need to move and shake, right? So in turn, sometimes that also makes them sometimes super resistant to that time blocking and super resistant to feeling chained to their calendar. But I think there's some parts of it, again, going back to like making it, I get to do that, making that part of the privilege, right? I get to say between 8 and 10, I can do whatever I want, right? And I think if you time block and take control of your calendar, you're able to service your clients better, right? Because it's an awkward moment when you say, hey, I'd love to do coffee, because essentially I do coffees from 10 to 12 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Do any of those times work for you? You've created a space to always be in front of people, and that's just what you do. And if 10 to 12 you don't have coffees that day, you work on something else. You make some social media collateral, you do some other kind of thing, but in that space, this is what I do from 10 to 12. And I think, again, just being more intentional makes all the world of difference, for sure.
Great tips. Thank you.
Hey, Laura, there's a question in the chat. How many hours per week would be ideal to commit to prospecting?
See, who asked that? I want to name people.
Leslie, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Leslie. That's a really fantastic question. I hope I didn't freeze because I'm getting this little bubble. Anyways, it's a really fantastic question, and I will be. Depends on how you are able to structure your day. Same token, I think you're always prospecting, right? I think that's the real. Am I frozen? Sabrina, I can't deal with your face. I think that you. And so in the beginning of it, I said opportunities, every opportunity is an opportunity, right? So while I tell you there's no defined time of what prospecting should be, I think it's more so being intentional about who you're reaching out to. So an easy 2 outreaches a day build that to 5 outreaches a day, whatever that may be, that's your prospecting, right? So if 2 outreaches, because you did slide dial, takes you 10 minutes, all right, maybe next week you do 5 and build on that, right? Because also the whole turns into maybe a listing presentation, turns into maybe a buyer consultation, turns into showings, right? So this is kind of what we're saying in that way, that you being intentional and deciding for you what prospecting means is going to be the world of difference. Does that make sense?
I love that, Laura. I love, like, some people, Leslie, talk about like, oh, I prospect 2 hours a day and that's how I built my business. And, I think like whatever Laura just said is so key. Like, you have to do what fits your schedule, but then do it consistently. Like, if you only have 30 minutes a day, then that's all you have, but do it every day for 30 minutes, right? Or if you only have, an hour twice a week, do it every week, twice a week for an hour, and consistent. I mean, isn't there a bunch of sayings about consistency is everything?
That's it. Being consistent and intentional, I think we could solve all the world's problems. Awesome. Do we have another question?
Laura, that was a great presentation. Unfortunately, it was a little choppy. You kept kind of cutting in and out. But if you would be like maybe willing to share your slides, I'm happy to email them out to everyone that showed up today. You can find Laura. She's on all socials and she's everywhere. So you can find her very easily if you want to reach out for clarification. And then also in the link I put in the chat, which is joinwomeninrealestate.com/Chicago. That's where you'll be able to find this recording. You can find our recording from last Tuesday as well, which was about building a team. And you can find our upcoming classes. This is the second in a series of 5 every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Next week, we're doing talking about funding with Patty Goodspeed. And if you don't know Patty, you're missing out, because she is such a knowledgeable woman in everything mortgage. And with the way that the market is shifting, et cetera, highly, highly, highly recommend it. And then after her, we have Lenore Sherman, who is a landlord of multiple doors in Chicago. And she's going to be talking about the pros and cons of landlording. And then the last week, we have one of the co-founders of Women in Real Estate, Kaylani Blackwell, who was a longtime commercial real estate broker, done tons and tons of stuff. And she's going to be talking about really the basics of commercial real estate, which even if you're a residential realtor, you should know about. Even if you refer that business out, you should be able to still have those conversations with your network. So hopefully all of you will join us on that. Any questions for Laura? Any other questions about prospecting, growing your business, building a database, marketing yourself, anything? Because she's here for you. So
got 14 minutes, guys. Just kidding. Yeah, so I know Sabrina's going to send out. I'm happy to share my slides by all means. And then if you have any questions after that, like Sabrina said, you can find me on Instagram mostly. I genuinely love helping people. So even if we're in a different space or, you're in a different brokerage, I'm happy to answer questions in any way that I can. So, and Sabrina is just as forthcoming. So know that we are happy to be a resource, and you can also follow our chapter, our Chicago W.I.R.E chapter as well, if you're not already. And then Clubhouse is an also great resource that we pop in on meetings sometimes too. So let us know whatever you need.
Brittany,
Yeah.
are you able to say hello to everybody really quick? Okay, so
yeah, my phone has been giving me so much trouble. I hope you guys can even hear me. I've been in and out. My service is so bad.
Yeah, we can hear you. And I know I keep letting you back in. No worries. Brittany is one of the co-founders of Women in Real Estate. And, although we are the Chicago chapter, Laura, myself, and Stephanie putting on this Zoom series, we're hoping it hits everybody nationally. That's what our point is. But Brittany co-founded Women in Real Estate. For those of you that are new, I know most of you are members, but in case this is your first time here, please, Brittany, you want to talk about Women in Real Estate for the next couple of minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I'm not even going to take a couple minutes. Like you said, most of the folks here are members, and I'm so grateful for information that you were able to share, Laura, because, you know, being a part of the tribe, we're just all about sharing information, making sure that women are uplifted and educated and empowered. Women in Real Estate is now a nationwide, and hopefully by the end of next week, an international movement. We have over 70,000 supporters, and it's been an incredible journey. We have an amazing platform of education offline and online. We have chapters all across the country, and then we're also in the process of raising a fund in a few months here, if we can finish up some of these partnerships, so that we can pour money into the people that we so strongly believe in, right? So those are just like some highlights, but I encourage anybody who's interested in getting more out of this network to go to joinwomeninrealestate.com, or you can reach out to me personally, Brittany at joinwomeninrealestate.com, and I'm happy to give you a free pass to Women in Real Estate, and so you can see what it's like and see if it's a good fit for you.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany. Thanks for joining us. Laura, thank you for letting us tap into your brain. Again, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmic. Otherwise, we're going to jet out of here.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, ladies.
You bet. Have a good rest of your day, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Laura.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Bye.